Cool, cool. Hello, everybody. So good. We got a new setup too. Oh, get a little fixer up. There we go. Yeah, we got a new setup. I got the apartment switched around a little bit. I got my desk switched up. We got a new order of the workspace, and that's what it is. It's a little later than I normally go on, but I just feel like I really want to sit in some collective readings. Hey, everybody. I really want to sit in some collective spaces and some personal readings that they come through too, but I really want to sit and kind of read some things because we're in the middle of the eclipses. We're in the middle of the eclipses. I'm feeling really profoundly renewed. I feel profoundly renewed. I feel very different. I feel different but familiar. I feel familiarly different. And I am not in a rush tonight. I'm feeling really grounded. I'm also feeling, hello to you too. Hey, feeling very like hopeful. I'm feeling very loving recently. I'm feeling very dark also in the energy. Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm feeling very different. Oh, I didn't turn my, hold on, I'm going to turn my notifications. There we go. And we're back. All right. So I just want to see, hello, hello. Hey, I just want to see kind of what's going on. Like, what do we have moving and grooving together? Oh, also, I have a Venus goes direct ritual that Spirit gave to me the other day for the Coven. So that's coming out soon. I don't know exactly when I'm going to make the video, but that's coming out soon-ish. Yes, probably in the next like week or so. I'm excited for it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We have King of Wands. Okay. I feel like we need a couple more cards. Hold on. There we go. The Queen of Pentacles, the Three of Cups. Interesting. The kingdoms have come together. That's what I feel about this one. The kingdoms have come together. It's the King of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles. But what I feel is like they may be from different places, but they need to be seated together. They may be from different places, but they need to be seated together. The King of Wands, the fire, the desire, the think higher, the create, be inspired. It's like the leader of the fire, the man who leads with fire. And then there's the Queen of Pentacles, the earth. And think about there's only certain kinds of earth that fire can burn. That's something that's really interesting to me. There's only certain kinds of earth that fire can burn. Fire, hello, hey, so good. So if you're interested in collaborations, you can definitely message me, but not during my live streams. So yeah, we're gonna sit and do some readings for sure, for sure. Hello, hey. I know my glasses. They're like a good addition. I only ever sit with them occasionally. I sit with them a lot, like off screen, because they're blue light glasses. You can see the blue light in them, and it blocks my eyes. But I just feel like tonight, for whatever reason, I need them, so we're gonna sit with them. Yeah, it is. But yeah, there's only certain kinds of earth that fire can burn. Like if you're looking at like a candle, that's earth that fire can burn. Hi, you want to come up? Wood, fire can burn that. That's earth. That's earth and energy. Come here, my love. Yeah, we have a visitor. I don't know. Sometimes he wants to sit with me and he doesn't want to jump up here. You know what I mean? Hello to you too. What are we reading? We're doing some collected stuff until we have persons come through. That earth energy, the King of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles. King of Wands with me. So it's like the masculine fire, the feminine earth. The masculine fire, the feminine earth. I also heard it's time to give birth. And you know what? Yeah, go adventure. That's fine. You know what? I was talking earlier. I just made a video about it. Oh, thanks. I just made a video about it, and the dark mothers are giving birth in this eclipse season. We had the dark moon connected to Mercury. It was conjunct with Mercury in our previous eclipse in Libra, October 2nd. It was the sun, the moon, then the south node, which is to be expected for a new moon eclipse. But then we had Mercury and the dark moon conjunct, and it was pretty close to what was happening with the eclipse. And that was October 2nd with Libra. And so it was an ushering in of a new cycle of justice for mother. And we've been walking still in the darkness with it. Like we haven't gotten to the full moon yet. The full moon is April 13th. It's the day that Venus goes direct. This eclipse season has the dark moon turning around and going, or not turning around, it doesn't retrograde, but it's going into Scorpio, coming out of Libra. Hi, hi, coming out of Libra. And so we're having this really big, how do I say this? It's like the time of birth is upon us. Plus, it's spring, the time of birth. This is not just the giving or the moving of the earth, it's a time of birth, and they're different. So we have this fire masculine energy. What I feel is like it's sometimes things have to get heat, things have to be hot for them to get picked up or moved around. And I keep seeing like different forms of earth and like how the heat interacts with them, depending on the earth that you're working with or like the land. And I just saw a video the other day, super random, came up on my For You page on TikTok. It was like someone was at a museum and they were showing all the different kinds of soil from different places in the Americas and like all the different kinds of dirt and all the different kinds and how different they were. So there's like a whole bunch of different forms of land and like the being of land and earth is very different dependent upon where you stand and where you are. So we have different forms of earth interacting with different forms of fire and there's weavings happening. Interesting. Not just weavings, celebrations, pick it up. What else do we need to see about this? Celebrations, pick it up. What else? What else? Yeah, the so goodness is for real. Also, the allergies. I feel like everybody's dealing with allergies. The fool? Oh, fool. Not so cruel to be a fool. Interesting. Entering a different kind of school. The fool. The fool. It's like what I see is someone walking around. Hello. Someone walking around and like a happy-go-lucky kind of person. Oh, somebody just sent through for a reading. A happy-go-lucky kind of person. I'm gonna wrap up the collective reading before we get into the personal. So just a heads up. So I think that was the first one that came through the list. But just so you know, if that was you who sent through. Okay. So we got the fool bouncing around. The fool bouncing around. La la da 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 da. La da 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 da. What happens if the adventure finds you this time? Interesting. What happens if the adventure finds you this time? I feel like for a long time, at least on a personal level, so discern for yourself if this is true or not. On a personal level, I've been going for the adventure, like I've been like looking for the adventure, going for the adventure. I want to go there. I want to do that. I want to be there. I want to be with that. I have everything I want. I went through the adventure and here, hi, hey, I made it. Okay. So now what happens if you let the adventure find you? I see the fool just like happily dancing along. And then there's an adventure. It's like, oh, like, didn't expect to run into you here, or like, good to meet you, new person. It's like this like happy-go-lucky kind of like whatever adventure finds me, that's where I'll go this time. So a little bit different. Maybe not whatever adventure, still have discernment, but that's what that's the feeling I get from this is like there's a new adventure coming through that you didn't mean. It's like you didn't ask for it, but it's here. So you want to go? You didn't ask for it, but it's here. Okay, what else about this? A project. Oh, and a couple. Oh, and a couple? Okay. No more grief. A long road. Interesting. Let me get some clarity on that one actually before I read on it out loud. Oh, interesting. What would it be like to travel light? Oh, that's a consecration. Okay, thank you, Spirit. Interesting. Cool. 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 Okay. Okay. I also heard the hero's story. Like the fool is the hero. The hero story. Okay, so we have the fool bouncing around. Adventure's gonna find them. Projects picking up. It's the nine of wands. So like being in the project, being in the creativity and being like really powerful in it. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, and then we're putting down the grief. Something's being consecrated. Projects, working, creativity. Okay, interesting. Something's being consecrated, and we stop carrying all the burdens and all the luggage that we brought with us that we don't need anymore. And I keep hearing, what would it be like to travel light this time? What would it be like to travel light this time? And I'm thinking about for me, for this from the perspective of as someone who didn't always know when they were going to be able to be in a home space or be able to access their like, toiletries or different things. I was always bringing everything with me wherever I went. So I've always been very prepared because of that. And this, the feeling I get from this is like, okay, well, like you can go back whenever you need to. So what happens if you travel light? Like put some of the stuff down and just travel with, don't bring everything with you this time. Just bring some stuff. Don't bring everything and just see what happens. Don't be so tough. That's been something that spirit and the mothers especially have been saying to me recently. How curious. Masculine and feminine working together, the fire masculine, the earth feminine. And it's the earth feminine goes really slow and the fire masculine goes really fast. So that's an interesting balance of energy. The fire masculine, the earth feminine. I feel the earth feminine also like it's springtime. Hello, where I am at least, where I am. That's really interesting. A leaving celebration, weavings and leaving celebration. The full story begins. The adventure finds you. Projects are new. Grief is done. Consecration and no more heavy burdens to run. That sounds like a little synopsis. Those are like the clip notes of the reading. LOL. Let me go and see who sent through for a reading. So the first one up is for Samantha. Hello, Samantha. Anyone else who's interested, there's a link on YouTube down in the description yeah, I got the personal reading. Hello, so good. Welcome in. For anyone who's interested on TikTok, if you go to the menu of the website, there should be astrology and magic and then a live stream reading option. So let's look at this. Let me read your note before we get into it. Virgo signs, Scorpio Pluto. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Virgo sign, Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising, and Venus. Oh my goodness. You are like Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. I love that. I also am a Scorpio and I have Virgo, like Scorpio, Virgo for me are also crossovers. So I like this. This is good. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Also my neighbor's dog is barking. So we love the dog. We love the dog. And honestly, I wish I could do something sometimes to make them not feel so alone, but that is their home. So just a heads up, if you hear me silent, there's a dog. Yeah. Okay. Getting destroyed right now. That sounds hard. I just want to start with that it sounds hard. That sounds hard. That sounds hard. That sounds hard after reading your note. That sounds hard. That sounds difficult. There's probably a really big mixture of emotions because it's like this person who wronged you and was supposed to love you, but ended up hurting you even more, is now gone. So there's probably like relief at the same time, like lots of grief. And that I just want to acknowledge the fact that that sounds really difficult and that sounds really, really hard. So probably whatever you're doing is what you need to be doing as long as you feel like you're taking care of yourself. And like, that you're being true to you in that process. And it's interesting. Do I need to talk about that? It's interesting because this is something I don't want to read because this is like a really personal thing. I don't want to read the whole note out loud for everybody, but this is something that I've been thinking about recently about what similarly, from my perspective of my practice in my life, this I know is going to be something more than likely that I don't want to say not entertaining, entering into, understanding, going through similarly at some point for sure. Yeah. Going through at some point. So, oh, yeah, I love you too. So interesting. Let me say it with the cards. Let's see what else comes through. Because I have been thinking about this. This is something, hmm, Samantha, this is something that's been on my heart. It's been on my mind. It's been on like a personal level. It's something that's been on my heart and my mind on a personal level for like a while now, like many moons, but it's been brought back up recently. So it's curious. Curious is not the word. Let us see what needs to be. Here's the question. And then start getting better. Ooh, goo. Okay. Yes. The mothers are indirectly grounding around all things. The mothers are indirectly grounding around you right now. So, let me ask you a question, Samantha. Do you have a practice with the mothers? Like, do you talk to them or make offerings to them or have like a mother at an altar, or like, do you have anything like that in your practice? Just so I have reference of kind of like where you're coming from with what you do in your practice and in your life, because I'll be able to speak on it differently, kind of depending on your background of things. Mm. No, I don't. Mainly, I'm just into astrology. I'm just starting my practice. Okay, beautiful. Okay, beautiful. So, one of the things, it takes a while, at least it did for me. It took me a while to understand the like, how do I say this? Discernment of like when the mothers are, they're kind of sneaky. I love the mothers, and they're kind of sneaky in the sense that they don't always like to be known, or like they don't always like to be able to be like pointed at, or like been like, oh, like this spirit is here. It's taken me many years to be able to do that with the mother energies that are around me. So they're like, when I say they're sneaky, it's like if mom is in the kitchen and you're like playing with whatever toys, like nearby. Um, like mom's got their eye on you, but they're not, how do I say this? They've got their eye on you, but like the kid isn't thinking about that. The kid isn't thinking about the fact that the mother is around them, making sure that they're safe and they're doing okay, but the mom is still there. So that's the energy that I'm seeing with this, is like they're like sneakily around you. And also the what came out in the cards is like indirect. It's indirect that they're around you right now. One of the things that might be, I don't know how you feel about this. I'm gonna give you some, how do I say? I'm gonna give you some practices that might help with the process of this. Because one of the things you asked about is, are things gonna start getting better? And for now, I feel like I'm not supposed to read on the pathway or like the path work of like what it is that you're going through, or kind of like what it is that is going to be it doesn't feel like I need to work with the fates for this, is really where I'm sitting in it. So I want to be able to give you kind of like some helpful applicatory tools and practices to help you get through what you're going through, rather than just telling you like, oh, like this is going to happen or this is going to happen. It's like, okay, well, if that's going to happen, like what the heck am I supposed to do about it? So maybe we'll talk about that in a second. And first, let's talk about some application processes and practices. One of the things that might be helpful, especially since you're just starting out a practice, just talk to the mothers, talk to the moms if they're around. Like anytime that you feel like really, because in times of grief and in times of like just turbulence is what it sounds like. Just like things are turbulent, and like turbulence is a good word. That's the word I'm going to sit with for this. Turbulent time. Um, and you're saying all these triggers are kind of being brought up and thrown into your face. Like there's just like turbulence. There's turbulence, emotional turbulence, spiritual turbulence, physical. There's stuff going on probably that you need to take care of, and things are moving around in the physical. So if you are ever feeling like you are alone and that you need help, the one of the first things that you could do right now is to sit and talk to the mothers. You could just say the way that I would do this, the way, and you can like change the verbiage as you need to. The way that I would do this is I would say, the mothers who are near me and love truth and free. I have a long list of energies, but simplify if you need to. The big list that I call on, or sit in, both, I suppose, is love, truth, free, honor, glory, elevation, gratitude, reverence, justice, and then love, to bring it all the way full circle, because I start with love, so I end with love. So that's the big list that I call on. But you could also just say, like the mothers that are around me to help support me in love, like I need somebody to talk to. I need to get this off my chest. I need to talk about this. I need to, maybe you just need to sit and cry, and they can come and sit with you, or like can I please feel the presence of the mothers right now to be able to like process these emotions, or to be able to sit with this. Like the mothers are around you, especially with the passing of a mom, and like there's this mother wounding stuff and trauma that's coming up, and you've got triggers that are happening. Being able to process that with the mothers that are near you. And like the mothers have come to visit for a reason. The mothers are around you for a reason, because you're in a change of mother season. There's mother stuff that's changing in your life. And the mothers are, they're ancestrally, they're being brought up. So in the spirit, they're going to be around you differently too. So talking with them. You could also, if you wanted to, leave offerings for them every once in a while, or whenever you feel, whatever is your style for offerings, however you feel like that might be applicable or necessary. Sometimes I'll leave them food. Sometimes, like if I go out into nature, I'll bring offerings with me. Sometimes I'll leave candles for specific mothers, depends on kind of what's needed. And you can start to if you wanted to. This is kind of a personal preference of if you would want to do this or not. You can start to leave offerings for them to bring them more into your space and bring them more into your practice. That's going to be something that is going to develop over time. So it's kind of a big commitment, is why I say that, to bring physical offerings. So if you're not really ready for that, just because of the turbulence that you're in, or just feeling like maybe it's not time for it, definitely don't like pressure yourself into it and sit with it as necessary. It might not be something you bring in for a while. If you do, that's totally good, totally valid. I feel no offense with that. Um, and I have a feeling the mothers around you will probably not feel offense with that either. But being able to just sit and talk with them is a beautiful thing. Another thing that can be really helpful to connect with the mothers and mother energy is if you're able to sit in the bathtub. You want to come up? I love you too. Is to sit in the bathtub and like just have a like a very intentional practice of sitting in the bathtub to connect to like mother energy and to have some kind of like wisdom of mother come through, or the emotional processing of mother that can be helpful for that. So there's what is that, three different ones? Hi, my love. I know, I hear you. Thank you for the confirmation. So if you feel like you need those practices, that can be something that is a little bit, hopefully, more helpful. And really just start paying attention to if you feel like it's necessary, or in those times of like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I need help to figure this out, they're probably around. A lot of the times, because permission in the spirit is a really big thing. And well, it's a really big thing, where we are in the world. So being able to give them permission somehow to like come through and help you, that's another thing to kind of think about, is like if you just even verbally, or like give especially with all the Scorpio stuff you have in your chart, permission is a huge thing for your astrology chart too. So like giving the mothers permission to come in and help you, or to come in and give you blessings and gifts and wisdoms and things like that. However you feel like you would need them to show up, like just offering them permission to do that, that can help to open the door to having them come through and to help you. I'm gonna read the cards some more because I feel like that's some good tools. Let's see what else needs to be with this. Okay. This is not the deck that I need for this. Let me finish this reading. A fate crossing, realms are changing, harvest. Is interesting when it comes to ancestral crossings like this. Oh, oh. The crossing of your ancestral, that's very okay, spirit. The crossing of this ancestor, there's some sort of fate around it. There's some sort of fate around it. Death is like that. Some death is like that. Honestly, love you, death. Death is like that. Death will come to greet us how we have greeted death. Death will come to greet us how we have greeted death. And one thing about ancestral crossings of death, if you yourself are still living and you're like in the outcome, like you're around while the ancestral crossing is happening, it's like what I see is like everything that has been sown by this person in their life, now you're going through and like reaping what needs to be reaped, so that you like clearing out the harvest fields, basically clearing out the harvest fields so that you can have the breath that you need. And especially if this person was was harming you and was not, a person that you really needed around, having all these triggers that are coming up. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Having all these triggers that are coming up, I'm doing so much shadow work. I can only imagine in this moment much how much relatively I understand. And also, yeah, my goodness. So going through the harvest that happens, how do I explain this? The harvest that happens on an ancestral level, it usually does need to, or just naturally it does. It works with the seasons. So if you're sitting in kind of like right now in this space, you're reaping what has already been done. When you clear out all of that work, when you clear out all of that kind of like gunk or junk, I don't really know that I have a better word for it right now. When you sit and clear that out, it sitting, working, activating, however you feel like you need to do it. There's a lot of different ways that you can do it. But clearing out all of that kind of like yucky, gunky, junky stuff, when the fields are finally clear, there's going to be a whole lot of room for you to plant new seeds. There's going to be a whole lot of room for you to say, oh, wow, yeah, okay, I did take the years because I'm more than likely you've been working on this already before this passing has crossed it through your world. So I have taken the time, I've taken the years, I've taken the Yera is the card that came out, and that's like the yearly harvest every year. So it's like I have taken the years already to kind of sit with it. And now sometimes we have to have the final reaping of, and thank you, Death. Have to have the final reaping. Sometimes we have to have the final reaping, and then the seeds are not going to be sown anymore. Sometimes things are not going to return. So if there's been a interesting. If there's been a passing or a crossing of this person, if you're able to go through for yourself and really clear things out, heal them, feel them, review them, love yourself in those dark, hard, sometimes kind of horrible places, and you're able to hold yourself there. And how do I explain this, spirit? You're clearing things. Thank you. You're clearing things and revering things so that they don't ever have to live anymore. This is death work, is really, I mean, obviously, I don't know why I didn't connect those dots until just now. Obviously, this is death work, especially if you're just starting a practice, you said too. No, on a level of spirit, on a spirit level, what I hear is like you're being prepared for something. Sometimes, oh goodness golly, I don't know one person. Yeah, that's true, actually. I don't know one person. I had to double check with myself just to make sure. I don't know one person who was like, "Yeah, sign me up. I'll do the death work." I've never met a person like that. I've never met every single time I've met a person who ends up going through some sort of spiritual death work or like a chapter of death in the spirit. And they're doing the death work, they're doing the harvest work, they're doing the reaping work, and like they're clearing things out. They're figuring out the process of death work and like the magic of death and the spirit of death and like cultivating and creating that relationship every single time, including myself. Every single time that I've met someone who's doing that, they just are thrown into it. Like there's not really any warning. It just happens. Now all of a sudden, there they are. Here we are. Like it's just kind of like a thing that pops up randomly, but it's like not random at the same time. Like it is random, but it's not random. And a lot of the times, those periods of death are there to help you understand your own power. They're there to help you understand your own work. I'm not exactly sure. Like it's different for everyone. Death greets everyone differently and has a different purpose for everyone. So when you're going into this, there's usually some sort of preparation work. Like it could be that maybe a couple of years from now, like the work that you're doing with this death work, it's like you get to come up and have a breath of fresh air and you're like, oh, I have everything now. I have everything. I have the gifts. I have the tools. I have the skills. I understand. I understand where I'm going. It could be, how do I say this? The other kind of metaphor that I've been sitting with recently. Hi, Bubba. Yes, I love you too. Do you want to come sit with me? Yeah, hi. Hold on. Let me see if I can get him in a more comfortable position because he keeps coming up to say hello. Yeah, hi. You want to come up and sit? I know you probably do. Can we figure out how to do it together? Yeah. What about this one? What about that one? You gonna be comfy? You wanna sit there? We got room. Let's see if he chills out. Thanks for the patience as I am a cat mom. Yeah, that's true. So coming in and doing the go back and yeah, okay. Coming in and doing that death work, it's always I'm a cat mom too. Okay, thanks for the understanding. He's a cute. He just wants to like spend time with me and sit with me, but it's like always when I'm how do I say? we have cuddle time, and then we have separate time, and then when I'm working, there's times where he comes up and he's like wants to be with me, you know. So it is what it is. But yeah. Anyways, so one of the things I realized about death work is that a lot of the times, because I remember, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back in my story to share some things with you. Uh, in the period of my death work was also very related to mother. My mother being a mom for me, like me becoming a mother, and the way that I became a mother was through death. And then interesting and true. So there was also a lot of death rituals that spirit was having me walk through when I was living with my mom. So it's a very like you just kind of get called into it and it just shows up. You get called into it, it just shows up and it's like, okay, well let me learn how to revere it then. And I'm learning now. I've been given the reflections now, years after the fact of that death chapter of my life. In the previous couple of months, spirit has let me see that the death work that I did, which was first of all really hard, second of all, is necessary. Like, I'm grateful that I did the work because now I'm on the other side. And I just wrote a blog earlier today that I need to go edit. And in there is like the answer of why I had to go through all that death work and do the hard stuff is so that it could be over. It's like, again, the final harvesting, like the harvest of the rest of it, and then like crushing it into wherever it needs to be so that it can be done. Maybe crushing is not that energy, but just like if you crush a seed, it's probably not going to grow again, kind of thing. So returning it to the earth in some fashion, in some form. Also, pardon me, I definitely just burped in everyone's face. It is. So having that death work come through usually is preparation for something. Because I'm going to give just perspective of kind of the death chapter and where I am now to be hopefully of some help. Because you come out of it eventually. You do. You come out of it eventually. You come out of it, you come to the other side of it. The other side being, a different chapter, a different season, a different story, a different ride of things. You come out of it eventually. In the middle of it, it still kind of sucks and it's not always super fun. But I'm looking at what I'm able to do now because of what I've been through, or like the room I have in my life because of the death work that I've done, or the hardships that I'm able to face now. Maybe not just hardships, but like, the gifts I'm able to receive now, the reverence that I have now in the world for life, the reverence I have for life. I used to be more of like a frivolous person, or like a frivolity is not always a bad thing, but like, just like I didn't understand the weight and the gravity of what life really is. And until you go through periods of death, until death comes to greet you, I feel like it's like not, there's like other ways for it to happen too. But life costs a lot. It costs a lot to be here. And so death is a healthy reminder of it. And so probably what's happening, let me get to the point. I've been kind of circling around for a second. Probably what's happening, this is what I see about it, this is what I've experienced also, and this is what other people who have been called into death work that I've met through the years, this is what they have experienced as well. Normally we're called into death work of some kind because it's like a preparation for something else. We need the tools of death, we need the school of death, we need the heart that death can help us to grieve and leave and understand and receive. And death and life are very, very like fundamental to the creative process as well. So especially if you've gone through, death is familiar, understood, especially if you've gone through the, how do I say this, especially if you've gone through like the hardships that you're talking about, and you didn't go into detail, and then we don't need to go into detail, that's totally fine. um just kind of like being in this situation with the person who did just pass, and having that harm come to you. It's, how do I say, death is there to help free you. Death is there to help. Thank you, death. Love you, death. Death has been near me today. I'm realizing death has been near me recently. That's true. Let it rest for now. But death is there to help free you. My dad OD'd 22 years ago. And that's the day my stepdad made her funeral. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, the fate. You remember earlier I said fate is crossing in this, or like there's something fated about this. Let me get the fate deck out. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get the fate deck. Let's look. Let's look at the fates because for some reason it's important. Fates. Okay. All things hidden, but valid still. Something that you created, the world created, coming to completion. There's some sort of cycle that's completed. I see you tying a final knot in something. I see you tying a final knot in something. Like through this end chapter, like what's happening with this ending, I see you tying a final knot in something. It's like literally like this big thing that you've been creating, and you're like, this is the final one, and that's it, and I'm done. I'm not ever gonna touch this ever again. I don't know what you're gonna do with it. It looks like those like what are they called? Like the macrame or like the when people have the or like people make doilies or like it's just like it's weaving work of some kind, knitting, crocheting. You've been weaving something for a long time, but I see the like final knot. This is the work you're doing, not necessarily the death itself, but the work that you're doing is the knot of finality, and then that's it, and it's finished, and you don't have to ever touch it again. There's also the five of okay, so create something's changing. Your creativity is changing. I want to say you're creating change, yes, but it's different than that. Your creativity is changing. I see it's like spontaneity returns. When spontaneity, that's a good trigger point. When spontaneity returns, you'll know the final knot has been done. I've had a creative block for so long. Understood. I understand. That my creativity kind of got blocked in the middle of my death work too. So I revere that. Okay, let me return to this though. So the final knot and then once spontaneity returns, the creative once that like the learning, the creativity, once that returns, you'll know that the final knot is done. The final knot is like the shadow work, the triggers, the healing, all the work that you're doing right now that you're talking about in your note. That's the final knot tying. What you're doing in that's the final knot. And then the creativity returning, that creativity returning is going to be the moment where you're like, okay, I really am done. Okay, I really am done. And then there's a new world that crosses through. So this death work, it sounds like you asked for something. That's what this sounds like. You asked for maybe a different kind of lifestyle or a different kind of money or a different kind of career or a different kind of something where it's like you have dreams and goals and aspirations and there's stuff that you want to do and there's stuff that you want to be and there's stuff that you want to go and see, experiences you want to live through. And for whatever reason, there's death work coming up right now because it's just one part of the process of life. And two, it's timed right now so that when you do walk into that new world, it's something that you are actually able to cherish and hold and revere and be in and like the death is not near you anymore and you can really actually set into the lived experience of that dream aspiration coming through and coming true because that creativity is changing. Because if we how we build something and how we create something is just as important as what it is that we are creating. So if you have dreams, goals, and aspirations, the death work has to come before that because probably there's fundamentals or tools or skills or mindsets or some kind of something. The new career, beautiful. So if there's all these triggers and trauma and stuff that's coming up, then probably that's coming up to be kind of like healed with, sat with, changed into something different. And then you'll have the new internally that then has it's like new fundamentals, new foundations, so that you can build upon them and you won't have like cracks in the foundation. You won't have how do I say, just like the building process will be more firm rather than you having to go back into it and like readjust things because it wasn't built in the energy that you needed it to be built in the first place. So the death timing and the death work timing on this while sometimes death is inconvenient, the placement of it in the timeline that you're on is where it needs to be. Because when you go through and you start your creativity and you're building a new career, you're creating a new career for yourself, you're creating a new lifestyle. There's different money, there's different energy, there's different people, opportunities, places, different mindsets, different spaces. When all that change starts to come in, that change, if you have been attached to the old ways of being and thinking, when it just like it like isn't possible. Like what you want with your career wouldn't have been possible if it was connected to those old. So that's why the clearing is happening now. This is death kind of offering you a way. Oh, that's gratitude to you, death. This is death offering you a way to become that person that you want to be. So the world grounding for you, then you're gonna be making more money. I know we're talking about death and like the death of a family member, but like there's more richness in your life. It's not just money. There's more richness in your life because this is the path that's being offered to you. It's like richness that you didn't even realize you could ask for. It's richness that you didn't even realize that you could ask for. It's richness of the heart, it's richness of the soul, it's richness of the land and the earth and the food and the experience. It's like a richness that you have always wondered if it's real and have not ever been able to like feel it. Richness. There's a richness coming through. Let me see. There's more to the end of this. Goodness. Technology is going to be important for your journey. Sometimes you're going to need it, sometimes you're not going to need it. You're going to need to learn to discern kind of the difference between the two, is what I feel about that. Learning to discern when technology is needed, when it's not needed. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. There's a discernment. There's a discernment process. I want to say the word lesson, but there's like stress in that, I feel like, for this, and that's not it. Just awareness of it, I feel like. Just awareness of it. I feel like there's another one. Hold on. I feel like there's another one. Cards are flying. My fate deck normally doesn't do that. They're like all over the place. Okay. Cups Queen. Learning how to lead with the heart makes your earth smart. Learning how to lead with the heart makes your earth smart, especially in times of grief when there's so much shadow and there's so much just hard. It's hard. Grief is hard sometimes. Sometimes it's like very, very deep and very, very pressured. There's Grief is a very strange emotion. It's like the deepest parts of our well, while simultaneously like the most turbulent waters we could exist in. And they're not always exactly in the same place at the same time. But that learning how to be able to sit with the heart in the middle of all of that and to revere how you feel in the middle of all of that, that helps to make the earth smart. It helps to make the body smart. It helps to make kind of like the way that your world around you is organized smart. There's like shadow placements that you're going to be working in that you don't even realize you're setting yourself up for till like year 3 or 4 from now, like 3 or 4 years from now. Or you look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe I accidentally did that. It's like I accidentally set myself up for this. Cool. Like it's like a good cool. Like cool. I can't believe I did that actually. That was really smart. I didn't mean to do that. That was in the middle of me grieving and in the middle of me crying and just being what I heard is a bloody mess. A bloody mess. I've been a mess. In the middle of me doing that, like this is a narrative that I hear in the future somewhere, 3 or 4 years from now. In the middle of all of that, I can't believe I was setting up the game board. I can't believe I was setting up the pieces of the puzzle. Can't believe I was setting up the foundations. Didn't feel like it back then. It didn't feel like I was doing the work back then, but that's what I was doing. I was setting it up and I didn't even see it. I had the ideas planted in my mind and in my heart back then, and I didn't even realize it. I had the ideas already, but they just hadn't surfaced yet. And they came to the surface in that season of grief and death. So leading with the heart right now, granted the turbulence, right? And also it helps to make the earth smart. helps to make the earth smart. Sometimes when it comes to money and finances, for some reason, this is necessary to be brought up because you're talking about if things are going to get better. When it comes to money and finances, because we're talking about Earth, but this is specifically money and finance. Earth is similar. Let me just beef the point. This is specifically money and finance. Sometimes you need to be hard with the order and structure, and like, gotta get up. I gotta go to work. I gotta do that. I have to do it. So we're in a society that requires us to do that occasionally. And sometimes you need to not do that. Sometimes it's like, sometimes I need to rest. Sometimes I need to work on my own projects. Sometimes I need to go in late or whatever it is that you need. So it's like learning how to be in both of those is going to help you to transition into this new world that you're creating for yourself. Sometimes you need to have kind of like the strictness or the regiment, and sometimes we have to get up and do things we don't want to do, especially in the middle of a grief period. Like, so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. I hope, may our society revere death more in love in our coming generations. So there's a balance between the two. It's like sometimes you're going to need to get up and go, and sometimes you need to just let yourself be and focus on more of like the spiritual places or like being more in an emotional embraces. So, what is it there needs? So, how do you know the difference? Is what I heard. How you know the difference? Interesting. How you know? I heard it's like the father energy. The father energy. How you know the difference is, okay, do I know I need to do this or can I let myself rest? Do I know I need to do this? Like, am I going to create a problem or an issue for myself if I don't go do this? Sometimes we have to be regimented like that because that is self-care, even when we want to stay in bed, which again, and it's the thing that we exist in the world. So sometimes when we're going through those hard places, sometimes it's like, okay, I have to, and what I call that is fighting for myself. That's what I will call that. I'm gonna get up and fight for myself. Then I might be miserable. I might be miserable because I'm seeing you like going into work, or like the narrative that I might sit within that space is like, I might be miserable today, but I gotta get up and I gotta go do it anyway. So I'm gonna do what I can do to make it not miserable or more pleasurable or whatever it is that I need, while simultaneously there's going to be some times where like the kid in me and the mom that I sit with, like for myself, tomorrow's my first day back at work and I've been dreading it. I understand that. Interesting. I understand that. Yes, I do. Sometimes, let me go back and then I'll go forward with that. So sometimes the mom and the kid in me are like, okay, well, we need to sit around and have chocolate and watch movies today because that's all I have the capacity to do. So having there be, like, you get to know your limit in the middle of it. If you're pushing yourself too much, you're going to realize it. And this is also, if you need it again, I'm going to bring back kind of what happened, what we were talking about on the first end of things. It's like, if you need help to discern, talk to the moms around you. I need help discerning this, the mothers who are near me in love. I need to understand kind of like what I need to do and how I need to move, or whatever you need to say to them. That's going to be something that is going to be helpful. Just remember the skills that came through earlier. Talk to the moms, make offerings if you feel like it's necessary. You could talk to them at work too if you need to. No one's going to hear it, but if you're talking internally to them, hello to the mothers, like, I need help with this, or I need to be able to sit with this. You could also revere death as a mother as well. Sometimes that helps me if I'm going through something that's more difficult, where it's like, mother death, love you, mother death. I need to understand some things about this. Or if you're sitting with grief, you could say mother grief, like, talk to mother grief. Mother grief, I need help, like revering this process. I need help processing the grief, whatever it is you might need help with. If there's other mother names that would come through, or it's like mother joy, if you need a moment of joy, in the middle of all that grief, sometimes that's necessary, like, I need 5 minutes of something that's gonna make me happy. With Mother Joy, can I have help with that? Please and thank you, love you. So however it is you feel like you need to talk to the mothers, literally like the energy that you're in, sometimes we gotta talk to that mom. Sometimes we need another mother to come in. Say that you're sitting in the middle of the grief and you need mother love to come in and help you with those moments of grief. So that's another discernment. When I was talking about, it took me a while to discern and learn kind of like what mothers I needed to talk to and when I needed to talk to them. There's also the goddesses or like the godmothers that are going to be connected more to like the pantheons or the mythologies of different peoples and places and traditions. So those are going to be the ones where it's like really serious. That's a whole different realm of practice, especially if you're just starting. So that's the one I was talking about, be maybe a little bit more just understand is something that if you make the offering, you're probably going to need to keep up the practice moving forward. So if you don't feel ready for it, don't open the door yet, but it could be something in the future or now if you feel ready for it. That is helpful. But just talking to the moms, that's going to be something that's going to be helpful. The other one that came out at the end of this, hmm, there's a loss of innocence through this process. Oh, whoa. Okay. For the new life you want to live. So here's some like big perspective. The new life you want to live and this new thing you want to do and this really take the glasses off. Okay, thanks spirit. Ridiculous. Sometimes it's so literal. You know what I mean? Anyways, okay. For this new life you want to live, the career you want to be in. Remember I was talking about like the death work and death work is happening and the death work and the death work and like the harvest of things. Let me put this back on. The death work, the harvest, and like obtaining and retaining the skills and the tools. Okay, beautiful. To get it to be able to set up the foundations for this new life. So sometimes if the mothers are around you too, that makes sense. The cost of wisdom is our innocence. So if you're asking for the new life and the new career and the new lifestyle and new money, new experiences, however you would frame that for yourself, a lot of the times the reason that we are not there yet is because we either don't have the skills or we don't have the tools, we don't have the experience, we don't have the support, we don't have the help. Sometimes it's just not time. That's not this situation that you're in. Sometimes the roads and the pathways are blocked very specifically, but that's not what I'm seeing. This is like a preparation for you to be there. So that's a different story, different place. This one though is sometimes that innocence, we have to pay with our innocence to be able to obtain the skills, to be able to obtain the wisdom. Everything costs something. So if you need the wisdom to be able to go off into this new life, the wisdom of yourself, what is it about yourself that you need to learn about so that you can become the person you want to be in that career, in that lifestyle, in that space? That takes the loss of innocence of childhood. That takes the loss of innocence when it comes to interest. Oh, thanks, spirit. That's very weird. The spirits have been around me more in the physical recently, so interesting. Anyways, I just felt it like a movement. We'll leave it be, and I haven't moved. We'll leave it be. So, yes, the loss of innocence for the wisdom of being in this. And also, like, what is it you want to do with your career? The loss of innocence, if you go back to your childhood, the loss of innocence about who your ancestor really is and like how your family got to where they are, why you haven't been able to live this dream life yet. Like, there's a lot of innocence that it sounds like, it feels like is going to be reaped, or like, it's like for a while the innocence has been kind of floating in between some places, like the wisdom and innocence has been floating, but now that this has happened and been finalized, now my cat right on the computer, oh my gosh. Here on YouTube, I hope that was adorable, that was great. So the cat got like right up in the camera over there. Anyways, ridiculous, love him, he's great. The cost of innocence, let me return to that. The cost of innocence, that's what's going to get you into the position. That's what is going to give you the skill, the wisdom, and there's a lot harder ways that that innocence could be taken from you. So it sounds like this is like death's, this sounds like, it looks like, feels like this is death being like, here's the easiest path. Here's the, I lost my innocence a long time ago. So let's talk about that. I'll make this probably like my final note. A lot of the times, especially going through like abuse and trauma and hurt, pain, shame, hard stuff, if you're going through that, one of the things that I do, especially with all your Scorpio placements, okay, shout out. I'm also pretty Scorpio heavy. One of the things I do in those situations is I go back to the person. I go back to the place. I go back and I revere who they were, what they wanted, why they were doing what they were doing. I observe the situation. I look at it. I learn from it. Granted, there's trauma work involved in that, and sometimes we have to look at ourselves too. It's not just always like looking at the other person. We have to also do inner reflections, it is. And okay, you go back to the situation, and if that person has harmed you, if you can go and look at curious things, spirit, you can go back and look at what they were doing, why they were doing it, and you can, how do I say? Instead of looking at the self and saying, how did I feel about this? Or what, that's important to the process, yes. And also centering it more on who they were and what they did and why they did it. That, weirdly enough, and I don't know how you feel about this, but as part of it, that is the gem and the gold mine of Pluto a lot of the times. Being able to go back into those spaces and be like, what were my enemy's tools? Hmm, what did they do? Why were they that person? Why did they do those things? Interesting. What am I going to do with it? I've got these rubies. I've got these gemstones now. Okay, well, am I going to polish them up? Am I going to turn them into something? Am I going to hold on to them? What am I going to do with it? So it's going back, and even though the innocence has been lost, when you can go back and return to who made you pay the cost and how the cost was paid, and you can reap everything from that situation, that's you calling your power back. Because if they forced you to pay your innocence, wouldn't the wisdom be yours? So go pick it up. Go pick it up. Biggest question I've asked about my mom. She let her boyfriend abuse me. Mm, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry that happened to you. So going back into that and picking up the innocence, yeah, baby. Now he's in play mode. We haven't played today, have we? Normally this is about the time of night where we would sit and play. Uh-huh. Yeah, mister. My orange boy cat recently has gotten a little bit more. Yeah, how are we gonna explain it to them? He's like a teenager now. He's getting on my nerves. I love him, but he's like a teenager now. He's pushing the limits, he's pushing the boundaries. So we're having to figure out. He thinks he's more powerful than I am, sitting, but we're equals. We're equals, aren't we? Little guy. Yeah. So he's testing his limits right now. So going back in, thanks for patience again. Going back into the they can sense energy. I take it as a good sign. The playfulness returning, right? The playfulness returning. Good. Yeah, going back into those places and really just saying the truth of the person. Like, no, you did that on purpose. You did that on purpose. This is how you did it. This is why you did it. This is where you did it. And I see right through you because for me at least, this is when I, as someone who is Scorpio oriented and has a lot of Scorpio in their chart, when I go back and I do that, okay, well, I've lost my innocence already, right? The innocence has already been taken. If I can go back and turn it into wisdom, I've put that in full circle. And then I've also not only protected myself, I have tools now that I didn't have before. I have skills now that I didn't have before. I have the truth and understanding of who I am and who that person was. And I'm able to identify other people like that in society so I don't get hurt again. Okay, thank the gods. Thank the gods. And thank yourself too in the process. Then what else? I have the emotional capacity and capability to understand what I was and was not responsible for in that situation, being responsible and accountability, like accountable and responsibility. And how do I say this? If someone else is taking your innocence, they did it for some kind of power. So if you go back and you take the wisdom from the situation, you take the power away from them. So you can go, for me, this is the narrative I would say with at myself. Like, don't, wouldn't I want to go back and take power away from the people who abuse me? Yeah. So I'll go learn. Let me sit. Let me take my turn. Sometimes it's harder, but you know, I've been considering writing a book, telling the truth for the first time. Dude, it'll probably be such a helpful like process for this. It'll probably be such a helpful process for this. Yeah, do it. Even if you write it and it ends up just being for you, or you want to just give it to your friends, you want to publish it, however you want to go about it. You write it, you know, write it. Yeah, yeah. You have any other questions? I feel like this is a pretty comprehensive sit through, but I want to make sure that you feel good about it before we call it done. Because that's you know, the death of a family member is a big one. And for anyone else interested, readings are open. I don't have anyone after this, so we're going to send some more collective energy after this as well. Yeah. Mhm. How interesting. I'll probably have some things to say after we're done. I mean, obviously, we're here to sit and talk, but interesting. Interesting, interesting. How do I get a reading? Hi, Ashley. Hello. If you go to the website and you go to astrology and magic, there's a live stream readings button, and you'll be able to find the options that are there. So I'm willing to do the work. And give yourself time and grace and space to do the work too, Death work and grief work. This was probably for me, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'll give this reflection. For me, one of the things that made death work and grief work so difficult for me is that it's not like construction work, the building work, the creativity, the bringing new life through. It's not like that. It takes like, how do I say this? In creativity, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna go forward. I'm gonna grow. I'm gonna build. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and I'm going. But in death work and grief work, it's like the complete and total opposite. And like you have to like sit back and slow down and rest and receive and understand and grieve. You have to grieve. And yeah, so I'm learning in this moment, talking to you actually, that that is the reason that grief work was so difficult for me. Yeah, reflections. Thank you for that opportunity to understand that about myself. But yeah, so give yourself the time and the grace and the space because especially if it's your parent, like ancestrally connected and there's grief work around you, like it takes time. It takes time. It takes time. It takes time. It takes. Yeah. But if you don't have any more questions, we'll call it through. You can do it. You can do it. You'll get through it. Yeah, of course. Of course. And thanks for the support. Good luck going back to work. Good luck, getting back into life. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and be gentle when you need to be and how you can be. So, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, so good. So good in the sense that there's like clarity that came through and also, yeah, huh? And also, and also, yeah. It definitely takes time. Yeah, understood. Hi. Yeah, I see you. You just wants my attention. I love you too, mister. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So good. So good. So good. Welcome in. All right. So again, anybody interested in readings, they're going to be on the website. You go on TikTok, on YouTube, they're linked down below. On TikTok, if you go to the website and you go to astrology and magic in the menu and then live stream readings, that'll be the place and the space. But yeah, that's a really interesting, like ancestral death is something that's been around in the spirit of things for a moment. So it's interesting that that would come up current in the current time. Yeah, let me prove to TikTok I'm a person. Wow. No wonder. Feeling hello to you too. Feeling real grounded tonight. I haven't checked on the comments over here for a second. Look at you adulting. I look like a grown up. Feel like I look like a grown up. Oh, so good. On you, it no longer looks like a teenager. That's funny. Thanks for that. Oh, thanks, Vicky. I appreciate that. I definitely feel more mature recently. Maturity, maturation. I feel different. I feel like I look different too. I feel like I'm gonna continue to look different for a while. So hi. Yeah. Hope you are well too. And hello to you also. That yes, I hope that you are doing well. There's so much change happening. So much change. So much change. I love the lives so much. They give me so many little nuggets of wisdom. Oh, thanks. You know, I've got little nuggets of wisdom to to gather and then give. So I'm grateful for that. Oh, yeah. He's a sweet baby. He's a sweet baby, aren't you? Yeah, he's a good one. I look like the cool aunt who comes to the family function just to make sure the kids are okay. Honestly, show up. Hey, babies, how you doing? I missed you. That is something I would do, to be honest with you. Right. Yeah. So silly. All right, let's do. We haven't had any other personals come in, so let's do another collective reading. Let's do another collective reading. Hmm. What do you think, my boy? You want to do another one? Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the fate deck. Let's look at the fate deck. A fate collective, because we're in the eclipses. We got a lot changing. All right. Let's see. Good night to you too. Good night to you too. Oh, hello. What else? Here we go. A chariot. The chariot has arrived. I heard that as like an announcer. The chariot has arrived. The chariot has, it's like official. I feel like someone, it's like a security team. That's what I hear. It's like a security team is like the chariot has arrived. The chariot has arrived. Somebody's watching out for you. That's what it sounds like. Somebody's watching out for you. The chariot has arrived. The chariot has arrived. They're not so up about it. It's very serious. The chariot has arrived. And I see them watching from like the crowds, making sure that you're okay. It's like security personnel. So protected. The chariot has arrived. So protected. You're more protected than you realize right now. Oh, interesting. Thanks, Spirit. More protected than you realize right now. Open your eyes and realize then. Curious. Interesting. Open your eyes and realize then. Interesting. Interesting. The chariot has arrived. They're here now. It's like announcing, but in like a secret way. They're here now. Okay. Also, too, how do I say this? It's like security personnel that no one knows is for you. That's what I feel like. It's like security personnel scattered in a crowd, dressed in black. It's like obvious that they're security, but nobody knows who they are security for. The jury has arrived. They're security for you. They're security for you. Of course, they're gonna make sure you're all right. Oh my goodness. Consecrate the projects, working on the projects. The chariot has arrived. What I see is someone, it's like um, the chariot has arrived. This is a collective. Yeah, this is a collective reading. If you go to the website, hello to you. If you go to the website, there's personals available tonight, but this is a collective one. So chariot has arrived, and then we have, oh my goodness, chariot has it, and you're like extra protected, extra protected, well directed, extra protected. Working, not working. What is this? This is a different energy. That I see someone. It's like they pull up in a car. The chariot has arrived. Okay, you have arrived. The chariot has arrived. We're protecting them. We're making sure they're all right. Security is out, making sure whether they arrive during the day or night doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many people are around. Security's still gonna be there to make sure everything's good. Okay, chariot has arrived. When the chariot arrives, they're going in somewhere. This person's going into, I see like a studio, or they're going into, or it's like if it's a, how do I say, if it's like a basketball player, like they showed up to go play basketball, or if it's a, how do I say, it's just like whatever that thing that you do is, whatever your thing is, whatever your thing that you do is like the chariot has arrived at the thing, you have arrived at the thing, we're here to protect you. Okay, beautiful. And I see the person walking in to go and do the thing, the creative, the life. Interesting. The moon. Oh, okay. Let's pull the other deck then. Let's pull the other deck. The moon. When I tossed it up, it landed on my order deck. So let's look at that. The moon. Union. Okay, spirit. Okay, spirit. The moon and union. What else? Something you can't see. The mothers are grounding through the union. The mothers are grounding. The mothers have been around me today and recently. So Understood. What else? One more. Oh my goodness. The moon and the sun? It's the sun reversed though. It's the sun reversed. The moon is upright, the sun is reversed, the sun is grounding. The sun is grounding? The sun is grounding. The sun is grounding? The sun is grounding. Interesting. Bot Lincoln Brown personal. Oh, thank you for that. If that was an announcement. Let me actually double check. I haven't been paying attention. I don't think anybody's come through. The sun is grounding. The sun. Oh, thanks, Spirit. That's interesting. I think I understand that now. I think I understand that now. The sun is the star that we rely on. You know how when the star card comes out in tarot? Well, if you do, if not, let me explain it. The star card, when I read that, it's like, okay, well, shine and be yourself then. Shine and be you. Be what you want to be. Be who you are. Be real. Be true. Shine. So what I feel from the sun grounding is like, okay, well, now you are the star that people rely on. Where are you showing up to in your life? Where are you showing up in your life? And now people are going to rely on you. That's kind of crazy, to be honest. The eclipse, I know. Actually, dude, how did I not see that? Dude, how did I not see that? Thank you for that. What the heck? They're literally stacked on top of each other too. I kid you not. I kid you not. This is how they're sitting on the moon and the sun. That's how they're sitting. That's ridiculous. Somebody on TikTok said the eclipses because I was talking about the moon and the sun. They, oh my goodness. And you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm an astrologer at 15 years. It's stuck in my head. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Sometimes I don't see things until it's time for me to see them. You know what? And that's all right. Hello, hello. Yeah. So ridiculous, silly, whatever. Okay. One of the things that I've been, how do I say this? It feels like, I'm going to put these up. I'm going to keep my eyes closed. We're going to talk about it. It feels like for months now, since our previous eclipse season, feels like since our previous eclipse season, Spirit has been getting set up, get ready, get up, get these pieces in order in your life because here we have the eclipses coming through. We have the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, the Virgo eclipse that just happened. Hi, I know, it feels good, huh? The Virgo eclipse that just happened. We got the new moon solar eclipse coming in. And it feels like there's something, and I said this in the video I made just last night. Was it last night? I feel like I'm still leading up to something. That's what this energy is giving me. That's what this energy is giving me. We're still leading up to something. The Virgo eclipse happened. It's helping to ground some things, revere some things. Oh my God. Ground some things, revere some things, help us understand some things, help us to, yeah, you want to sit, you want to hang out, you want to be level, you want to chill. Me too. Thank you. Love you. Yeah. What a gift you are, huh? What a gift. Okay. So the eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse, it's going to be something else. Y'all, it's going to be something else. It's going to be something out of this world, is what I hear. Something out of this world. Because I remember so good. Oh, yeah. I remember the new moon solar eclipse in Aries in 2024. I remember that. And Mercury was retrograde then too. Mercury is going to be retrograde for this one also. And I remember being in that, yeah, I remember being in that eclipse and I was writing crazy, crazy. I was writing and 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 I just like integrated so much information. I wrote it all down. It was like pages and pages and pages. And I kept writing too. I was like, am I done yet? And my hand, I was just like, no, I'm not done yet. Like my hand is tired, but I'm not finished. I just kept writing and writing and writing. And it's so strange. Bring it back. It's so strange. I had a vision when it was in one of my other live stream readings, I'm pretty sure. It was like at the very end of one of the previous ones. It's like a couple of live stream readings ago, I'm pretty sure. Then at the end of it, it was this moment like the Virgo eclipse was okay, get everything ready. And then the new moon solar eclipse is like, okay, like we've got to shut the door behind you now. So like make sure you've got everything. We're leaving. And It's something that I feel like is so bright, not the light in my eyes right now too. It's something that's so bright that I can't see it. We've got union. I feel like I'm gonna look back at this reading like a week, 2 weeks from now and be like, duh. You ever have that happen? You ever have prophecies and divination come through and then like a couple weeks later or like whenever the yeah, I how do I say that? And it comes through and then you're like, duh, obviously, like how did I not see that at that time? That happens to me all the time where I like pull cards and I'm like, oh, sure, yeah, makes sense, I guess. I think I get that. And then it'll be like when the thing actually grounds, and I'm like, "Okay, they were more specific than I thought. Like that, these ridiculous. That's how I feel about this right now. Because there's union, the mothers are grounding, and the eight of coins as well. Abundance and flow, abundance and money, abundant, abundant, abundant. Interesting. Abundant, abundant, abundant. The new moon solar eclipse. Interesting. The chariot has arrived, protected, well directed, working on your craft. Then the eclipse comes through, union, together, the mothers, eight of coins. What else? A death. A death? Okay. There's a poem that I wrote a really long time ago. It's a short little poem, and that I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you the poem because I feel like that's applicable. The shell to the seed must die in order for the plant to be born. So it's like if you've ever seen a tiny little seed grow from like the shell that keeps the seed in the seed has to die for the seed to sprout. So it feels like we're in the shell right now. Interesting. And it's springtime. Okay, talk about it. It feels like we're in the shell right now, and the like we're nurturing and we're nurturing, and it feels like we've rooted in it. It feels like we're sitting in it comfy, and we're about to like the sprout is about to pop out of the earth. Oh god. I think I'm putting the pieces together for my own life in this moment also. What else do we need to know about this? Hold on. Oh my goodness. Is it overwhelming? No. Is it a lot? Sure. Is it more than maybe I'm thinking? Yeah, it's definitely more. Okay. This one. The magician. Magic you have been working is coming to ground. I've been saying that all season. I've been saying that all season. I'm ready to. You know what? Sprout it out. Sprout it out. Sprout. Let's go. Magic you're working is coming to ground in this season. I've been saying it for like what, like a month now. This is a season of fate. What did you consecrate? What did you make? What did you make? What did you make with your music? What did you make with your art? What did you make? What did you make? Interesting. What did you make? Because we got something coming through. Lots of stuff is grounding. Okay, hold on. Let me clear this. The lovers, cute, cutesy, cutesy patootsy. The chariot has arrived. We've gone all the way back to the beginning. The chariot, I love that picture. That's a good vision. The chariot has arrived. Okay, let me pick these up. The eclipse. That's crazy. Let's read. That's crazy. That's crazy. There's more to this than I understand in this moment. Hold on. Before we clear these four really are just they're speaking to me. Because it's the moon and the sun on top of each other, the eclipse, right? And then we have union when two rivers come together. It was when two rivers come together. And then we have Fehu, which is the primordial mother. Mothers, it's the mothers. I usually read it as the mothers. It's like the mother, a mother, the mother. So the mother, because if we look at it like together, the togetherness of them, okay, they're like mirror reflections of each other. So it's like the union would be positioned with the moon, And then we have the mother's grounding in position of the sun. Um, hmm. The mothers are about to be eclipsed. Ah! Okay, 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 okay. Okay, okay. The mothers. Okay, okay. The mothers are about to be eclipsed. The mothers are about to be eclipsed. And the thing that's eclipsing them, so it's like the mothers, and then what's passing in between. What's passing in between is the union. So it's like the mothers and then the eclipse. And the eclipses flip everything upside down. So something that you're unioned with, something that is unioned in your life, two rivers coming together. It could be two different areas of your life. It could literally be a relationship. It could be you and your dreams. It could, there's so many different applications to that card. A lot of the times it was, at least right now for me, I read that as an actual like personal relationship, but it can also be read in the terms of business if you needed it to be. It could be read in the terms of like anything that you would be in a relationship with, the relationship with your creativity, the relationship with your career, the relationship with your family. Something is becoming unioned, and I see it as like a, it's a like a link that doesn't get broken. Unbreakable link. It's a like a chain link that cannot be severed. Chain link that cannot be broken. Oh, interesting. Quite strange, actually. Hmm. Hmm. There's a union eclipsing the mothers. Something else hovers. Hold on. Let me not get rid of these cards yet. Didn't I say I'm not in a rush earlier? Let me not rush the cards. Oh my goodness. Let me go through the order again. I feel like I gotta retell the story. Okay, let's retell the story of the reading. That's what I feel like we need to do. Hold on. Let's start from the beginning. The chariot has arrived. Okay, there's security making sure that in your arrival, where you are, that you're safe, you're protected. And think about that. Think about how, because I'm putting into perspective, like I haven't ever had security like that around me for me, not with the life that I've lived thus far. I've always had to be on guard, checking, looking, making sure, right? But imagine if there was security, like you're hopping out of a car, there's a crowd around, okay, whether they're paying attention to you or not, there's people around, but there's security there just for you. So it's like you don't have to be as aware of everything, or like as not to not be aware of things, but like you don't have to be so on guard or like on your toes. So it's like the ability to kind of relax, chill, rest a little bit. Then we have the Nine of Wands, so it's like you're showing up and arriving to do something, something you're really good at, something you're like your specialty. Okay, you're showing up in your specialty. The eclipse happens. This is a very specific order. This is a very specific order. You're showing up, you're protected, you're there to do something that you're really good at. There's an eclipse. The mothers are being eclipsed. Union is coming in, which, if you did the work with the new moon in Aquarius for the coven work, the eclipse, interesting. The mothers and the masculine coming together, mothers and masculine coming together was a part of the reading work that was done in the middle of that work, or like around the time of that work. So the mothers being eclipsed by union is like, here we are unioning. Here is union. Okay. Here is union. More money, more abundance, more fertility. Interesting. More money, more abundance, more fertility. Those are like the three that I see. More money, more abundance, more fertility. Then there's the death. So what has been holding, that's like the shell of the seed must die for the sprout to be born. The shell of the seed must die for the sprout to be born. So that means there's probably going to be some things that fall away, or like it's like a shedding. I also see it's like how snakes shed their skin. Another shedding. I literally just went through a whole entire process of going through some shedding, and I was putting together the pieces. I was like, oh, this is the year of the snake. This is only like 2, 3 weeks ago. Oh, this is the year of the snake. And yes, this is a collective reading. There's personals available on the website tonight if you're interested in it. But yeah, this is collective. Let's sit in the collective. Yeah. Oh my goodness. The shedding of I literally just went through it. And while I was going through it too, I was like, I'm gonna go through a lot of these this year. I can feel it. So we have another shedding. A shedding. The snake sheds its skin, what has been holding us. Is metamorphosis. Okay. Metamorphosis. We're going through a metamorphosis. Interesting. In the springtime, at least here, metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Okay. And then we have, let's look at what else. Metamorphosis. Abundant fertility grounds creation. Abundant fertility grounds creation. This is like unexpected, also, is what I'm hearing. Unexpected creation, unexpected abundance, unexpected fertility. Ooh. Ooh. Unexpected abundance, unexpected creation, unexpected fertility. Channel that very specifically if you are resonating with it. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. I also hear that's going to be around May time, maybe a little earlier. May time. And then mother money. Mother money. Mother money. Interesting. It's like what I see is like mothers are getting gold coins. I see the mothers getting gold coins. I see like a bag of gold coins. I see the mothers giving gold to other people. Gold, mothers and money, mother money, and then the magician. Okay, time to turn this into something else. Time to work more magic. Time to spin some new webs. Time to work some. Time to be a magician again. Where are we going now? What are we gonna do? Huh? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, I am doing readings. This is a collective reading right now, but there's personals up on the website. That's crazy. This eclipse, it's like the birth of a whole new life. You're telling me that we're going to go through a metamorphosis, metamorphosis into something that we've been asking for, something we've been waiting for, and we're about to have union cross us. What union have you been prepared for? That's a great question. If you resonate with this, what union? Because we don't just union with things. The card that came up for union in this reading is Ewas, and the two rivers coming together is like it's fated, it's destiny. It's fated, it's a destiny, and the rivers know they're gonna meet each other. The rivers can like sense through the earth that they're getting closer to another river. Rivers and water are smart, the land is smart. So being able to see the rivers coming together, it's like, okay, well, I know I'm going to be union with what this is over here. I can see the river. I know I can see it. I can feel it. I'm getting closer to it. I know what it is. I know what it is because I'm a river too. I know what it is. There's another river over there. These sorts of unions are also like undeniable sorts of unions. Undeniable sorts of unions. Quite strange because they're undeniable. Union with spirit, you know what? I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Welcome to your new life. That's also the other thing. Welcome to your new life. Here you are. Here you are. Interesting. I feel like there's more gravity to this than I'm able to understand right now. I feel like this feels more important than I have the comprehension for in this moment, or the capacity for comprehending in this moment. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe I don't need to see it right now. Maybe I don't need to receive the gravity of it right now. This feels more important though. Travel. Okay. Interesting. We're going through an eclipse. That's true. Sometimes the eclipses are, unexpected and different. What we've been prepared for. That's what we're going to be unioned with. So what have you been prepared for? There's a lot that's about to change. There's a lot that's about to change. And you know what? For like the ravens come to me on like a magical level, right? The ravens come to me whenever I'm about to go through really quick, swift, big change. Could be just a raven, sometimes a raven. Hi, my love. Yeah, sometimes a raven is enough to be a signifier of there's gonna be big change. And recently, yeah, hi, my love. Recently, it's been for like a couple weeks, it's been basically every day I've left the house, there's more ravens. It's like trees of ravens. They're everywhere. Doesn't matter where I go, which is surprising to me. Is it really? No, not really. But like, it's somewhere different every time that I leave, sort of. So like they're around wherever I am. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. On the night of the eclipse, a flock of Canadian geese were flying through the night at midnight. Oh, that's really cool. That was really cool. I love the geese. I love the geese. Mhm. The death. I wonder what that's gonna be. A death, a metamorphosis. Sometimes and you know what? Recently, spirits have me bring death back in. I felt death around, and I was like, I need to start revering death again. I need to start, not that I don't revere death, but like actively revering death. So I brought death back into my practice. Oh, my love. I brought death into my practice, and death gave me a new perspective on creativity recently. Because for a long, long time, I've been sitting in the death chapter of my life or like the endings chapter of my life where I've been focused on like cutting things off and chopping things down and being done with them. You want to come up? Come and sit while we talk. You want to? Come here. Huzzah. Get comfy. Yeah, we're not gonna pull cards for a second. He doesn't like it when I pull cards right in his face, so he gets down, but then he wants to get back up. It is. Sometimes the geese love us back. You know what? I'm grateful for it. Grateful for it. Interesting. Okay, where was I? Let me get back on track. The death, right? So death energy. I've been bringing back the reference of death and like some different practices to revere death recently. And for a long time, that's where I was. For a long time, I've been in the cutting off and the loss and the grief and the death and the cutting off and the loss and the grief and the death. And now recently, I've been in the practice where death is required for creativity. We have to consume. We have to consume. We have to eat stuff. We have to bring things into our body. We have to bring things into our life. We have to bring things into our practice. And death has been showing me recently that that is creativity. Here, let me bring this to myself. 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 So it's been this like, that's a very firm sort of energy. Oh my goodness. That's how I saw it in my head. But when I did it in like out here, it looked different. Uh Interesting. Oh goodness. May that be as easy for you as it needs to be. The Saturn and the 12th, and Saturn's in Pisces right now too. So that's you got 12 and Pisces under you. That's a lot. Yeah, the transition for sure. So we've got the death energy around. It's like bringing the death in, bringing the death in. Because then there was also an image recently that death gave to me of like just like the process of how death is involved in creativity and how like we take one thing and like if we put creativity into it, like death has to be a part of that because what it was has to die. Even if it was like paint, you put paint on a palette and then you put it on a canvas. Okay, well that paint is no longer in the tube, so there's death involved with that. So interesting. So death is around us. More than likely, creativity is around us as well. So there's going to be something created, something we've faded, something we've faded. Something you faded, something you've woven, something you've chosen. What did you choose to do with your life? What does this chapter feel like you've chosen to do? Something chosen. And then Mother Money. Mother Money. Mhm. And Magician. This is one of my favorite cards in the Fate deck because there's a seed in the middle of it. There's a seed in the middle of it, the diamond that's in there. But then there's also four different X's. There's four different crossings of fate. Okay, magician, go weave new fate then. Go weave your new fate. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, I think I'm gonna get off. I just got the kind of like jump to go do that. Let me check to see if anyone else has come through. Let me close off the readings. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Yeah, let me close these off then. Oh, that was a good. That was good. That was a good. We had a couple good collectives in tonight. We did. We got three pretty good, two collectives and one person. Thanks for hanging out. For sure. It was a good time. It was a good time. This is gonna be a different chapter, that's for sure. Okay, let me close it because I can feel I'm ready to go. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Uh, what other updates? I've got some different updates if you want to sit and listen to update stuff. Oh, thanks, Snow Surfer. Thanks. Yeah, thanks, guys. So I guess just you too, B. Halen. You know what? Shout out to you. You too. Some updates on stuff before I'm like done. Um, I'm going to be bringing more episodes to the podcast up and coming where we focus more on transit stuff. I did just update the offer support page for exclusive subs. So my NFTs are officially a part of that process. If you want to become an investor, there's also $5 a month subscriptions on the blog where you get exclusive blogs over there. There's a yearly option, there's a founding option. And then the other update that I'm really excited for is I'm looking forward to and the process of writing a book on time magic. So that's on pre-order and it'll publish in September in our next eclipse season. So that's going to be one of my big focuses for the upcoming 6 months in this like between the eclipses. That's going to be what I'm working on. The pre-order gets you an ebook and there's a written copy, like once it's published, the physical book, the physical copy, and it'll be signed physical copy. So that's available over there. Yeah. Cool. Those are the updates for now. More to come soon, I'm sure. I'm also in a lot of change currently, so it is what it is. But thanks for hanging.